Weekend America has been a great partner of this all along, and so it makes perfect sense for us to give Bill Radke the first exclusive interview with our winner. So, Bill, please take it away.
Hello.
Thank you.
Welcome. So first, tell me who you are. And this will be your first down clock. Okay, this will be who are you in 30 seconds or less, Al.
My name is Al Letson. I am a playwright, poet / performance artist from Jacksonville, Florida.
Well done.
I'll take some of his time.
Okay. Nice. That's what a real public radio host does. You grab that. All right.
My name is Glynn Washington. I am a nonprofit director. I run an organization called Young Entrepreneurs at Haas, and what we are is the heart and soul of the Berkeley Business School, trying to get all those mean, nasty, evil business impulses and direct it toward the at-risk community, the at-risk youth of the East Bay and the San Francisco Bay Area.
Rebecca?
I can't compete with that. I'm Rebecca Watson.
You can just take his bio if you want.
Okay. I run a nonprofit. No, actually, I do. It's at skepchick.org, and it's dedicated to communicating science to the general public. I'm a writer and a former magician. That's
right
my thing.
Okay. Now, all of you, interestingly, all of your show pitches originally were about mold, which is weird. We asked you to change that up for reasons that are now clear to you. So tell us a story that that illustrates your show and your hosting us, Rebecca.
Well, my big idea is that I would like to do a show based on examining subcultures in a skeptical sort of manner and looking at pseudoscience and the paranormal in through the eyes of science, basically applying science to your everyday life. So I actually have an interview set up. Whether it goes into the pilot or not, it'll be interesting. I'm going to be interviewing someone who claims to be a breatharian, which some people know who they are. Breatharians believe that they can live without any food. They get all of their nutrients from the sun and love and things like that. So some of them honestly believe that. Some of them are con artists who believe that they...
Because there's huge money in claiming to be a breatharian?
Funny you should mention it. A friend of mine, James Randi, actually gives $1 million to anyone who can prove paranormal abilities. So he actually tested a breatharian once. A guy claimed that he could live without food, so Randy said, okay, let's test it. If you can, we'll lock you up in a hotel with no food. And if you can get through the week without losing any weight, we'll give you the $1 million. Yeah. And the guy agreed to all the protocols, and so they set him up in the hotel, cleaned it out of food, and made sure he didn't have any on his person. Everything was all set to go, put him in the hotel room, and Randy and his team left for the night. Or so the guy thought. What they actually did was go across the street and set up camp and watch. Because eventually, door opened up, guy snuck out, went down the street to Burger King.
Nice.
But wait. No, it's not what you think. He bought a bunch of hamburgers and brought them back to the hotel, and Randy and his team stopped them. And the man clarified, and he said, no, I'm not going to eat the hamburgers. I'm just going to breathe their essence.
Nice.
Needless to say, he did not win $1 million that night.
Do you have a show title yet?
I went with Skepchick, which is the name of my organization, but I'm open to other things.
We look forward to that show.
Thank you.
Glynn, tell us a story that illustrates.
I will. That's the concept of my show is, in fact, storytelling. That's what I do. I'm a storyteller. And it's called Snap Judgment. And it's about those decisions that everyone has to make in pressure and stressful situations that affect the rest of their lives. The first story that I told actually was about a guy named Michael Tiberius Scott, who just gotten out of prison, was walking down the street with his very first paycheck in his pocket, very first time he'd ever been paid for anything. And when he was in prison, he vowed to himself 2 things. He said, number 1, I'm never coming back here. And number 2, I'm never going to be anybody's punk. And he's walking down the street right there in Oakland, California, and he passed by the check cashing place where trouble had happened 8 years before. He was walking by and heard that click, just like that. Someone said, give me all your money, everything he had. And he had to make a decision right then. Was he going to do it or not? Snap Judgment. Do you buy that show, Pat? That's a snap judgment right there. You got to know. You have to know what happens, and that's what it's about, those pressure situations. Everybody has them, and I really want to make this about real people who make real decisions. It's not, I love writers and other people and everything like that, but everyone has one of these stories. And please check out the site, some great stories on there. I'll tell you about the rest of it later on.
What will Pat Harrison do? Al, tell us a story.
I got my start doing performance poetry, and there's this, a lot of you may have heard of it, there's this big phenomenon called the National Poetry Slam, where poets kind of gather like this. I'm sure you guys do a lot of drinking and craziness. Poets do the same thing too afterwards. So I was in, yeah, I know. I was in Americus, Georgia, which was a really strange place for this big poetry slam. And so there was a lot of poets. Americus, Georgia, big claim of fame is Jimmy Carter. But besides that, it's pretty much a really small, rural town in Georgia. And so all these poets from all over the country descended there. There were ladies with blue hair and tattoos. There were guys with spikes in their mouth. And I have no idea how you do poetry with spikes in your mouth, but they do it. And so we were all hanging out here in this little, really kind of, one-horse town. And we all went to get something to drink at the local convenience store. And when me and like 4 or 5 other people walked in, the guy behind the counter was just shocked. He was blown away. He was scared. So he called the police. And the town was so small that the police were there in less than 2 minutes. I mean, boom. So the cop walks in, and we're getting the beer, and we're going up front. We're not bothering anybody. And he looks at us, and he goes, boy. I didn't understand a word he said except for boy. But I've been living in the South long enough that my daddy taught me to be quiet. So I didn't say anything, right? But I was hanging out with some people from San Francisco and Oakland, and they got fire in their belly. So they started arguing with him, telling them that we're not bothering nobody, we're not doing anything, we just came to get the alcohol, and we're going back to the hotel to party. We're not bothering nobody. And so he says in his voice, why y'all here? I didn't understand that, but from what everybody else was saying, I imagine that's what he said. And so, I spoke up and said, well, we're here at a poetry slam. And he said, poetry? It's illegal to fire chickens in this county. I swear that is a true story. So later on, at the poetry slam, he, we do the whole slam thing. It's competitive, it's fun, words, love, and all that flying in the air. It gets over with, I leave. My team won. I was like elated, and I come outside to get a breath of fresh air, and there's Roscoe P. Coltrane. And he still has these reflective glasses that he had. It's nighttime. He still has these reflective glasses, and he comes up to me and he said, boy, sure did like that poetry. That really helped me understand that even though he was from, Americus, Georgia, and very different from me, and I was from, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, but I'm from Plainfield, New Jersey. We were really, really, really different people. But there was something that connected us. There's this human connection, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think that, radio has the power to, bridge all of the gaps, all of the walls that we put up around ourselves that say, I am this and I belong to this area. I do this, so I hang out with these people. At the end of the day, we are all the same. We all have the same wants. We all have the same desires. So the show that I want to create is called State of the Reunion, and it's a statement about reuniting this union that we call the United States. It's going to one city in every episode, and we'll look at the things that bring the community together. We'll look at the things that pull it apart, and we'll dissect it. We'll talk about those issues. So that means all you program directors, I want to come to your city, and I need your help.
Al, Glynn, and Rebecca, we can't wait to hear it. Welcome to Public Radio. Congratulations.
Thank you.